Hello and welcome. You're watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Here's a look at what's lined up for you on the show tonight. Our cover story tonight is about the tensions between Israel and Palestine. Over the last 24 hours, these tensions have spiked, so much so that the latest developments have triggered a serious question. Are Israel and Palestine on the brink of a war? You see, this part of the world is always just one flare-up away from a war. And a lot has happened over the last 24 hours. Israeli police stormed the al-Aqsa mosque. Hamas fired rockets into Israel. Israeli planes struck Gaza. Is this the beginning of another war? That is our top focus tonight as we get you the latest. Also on the show for you, never a dull day in Pakistan. We tell you all about Imran Khan's courtroom drama and why even the way he has been appearing at the court has left people entertained. Vatican says China has unilaterally appointed the bishop to Shanghai. What is this all about? How is Beijing responding? We get you the complete story. As the race to space heats up, we tell you where India stands and how it is emerging as a leader. Is your lifestyle your biggest enemy? What do your lifestyle choices have to do with your menstruation cycle and how do they impact fertility levels? We get you a Gravitas special report. Are Israel and Palestine on the brink of another war? A lot has happened since our last show, since our show last night. Israeli planes have hit Gaza. Missiles have been fired into Israel from Gaza. You see, it all began with an Israeli police raid on al-Aqsa mosque. Let me add, a raid during the holy month of Ramzan. Let's begin with what happened in the pre-dawn hours of this morning. That is the time when those who fast are eating the morning meal, the only one before sunset. Israeli police stormed into al-Aqsa mosque. Why? Well, the answer depends on whom you ask. Israel says its security forces were forced to enter the prayer halls because some masked agitators, quote-unquote, barricaded themselves inside the mosque. They point to an agreement that worshippers cannot stay inside the mosque overnight during Ramzan. The worshippers tell another story.
We were spending the night in the mosque, and after we were done with the late night prayers, the police started to evacuate worshippers from the outdoor yards.
I was praying and I was sitting on a chair reciting the Quran. Israeli police hurled stun grenades. One of them hit my chest. Now my family will see me and they will feel terrible.
So there was an exchange of stun grenades and firecrackers between the police and the protesters. Hundreds of Palestinians were arrested. At least 14 of them were also injured. And soon videos emerged of Israeli forces beating the worshippers. has not been able to independently verify this video, but we can tell you that videos like these are in wide circulation on social media. The word spread. Soon protests broke out in West Bank. Palestinians reportedly began burning tires and throwing rocks at Israeli soldiers. You see, al-aqsa is not only the third holiest place in Islam, but it was also one of the world's most volatile sites. Tensions are always brewing in the al-Aqsa mosque compound, courtesy a long conflict that involves history, geography, and above all, religion. My point is, violent clashes are not rare in the al-Aqsa mosque. But what not many saw coming was a storming during the holy month of Ramzan, especially given what had happened in the year 2021. I'm of course referring to the 10-day war. It was triggered by a similar clash at the al-Aqsa mosque compound during Ramadan. What happened earlier today was not only in the middle of Ramzan, but also on the eve of Jewish Passover holiday. In response, Hamas fired rockets into Israel from the Gaza Strip. Just have a look at these visuals.
Wow, מטורף.
In fact, reports say 5 to 9 rockets were fired. The country's Iron Dome intercepted most of these rockets, and there were no reports of casualty. But that did not stop Israel from retaliating. The Israeli army has released this video. It shows planes striking what it claims are Hamas weapon production sites. Hamas radio claims that at least 2 training camps were hit, one in the Gaza city and the second one in a refugee camp. Reuters reports that Israeli tanks also shelled Hamas positions along the border fence. As I speak, a cleanup is underway in Jerusalem's holy compound. But the worst may not be over, because anger is still very much boiling in both Gaza and within Israel.
The Israeli forces' assaults on the worshippers in al-Aqsa Mosque is a crime and is a violation of all human rights and laws. The occupation should be held responsible for it, because our people will not let this pass without a response to the terrorizing of the worshippers who were safe in the house of God.
You see, this is a region that is always just a flare-up away from a war. One clash, one episode of exchange of fire, and before you know it, a war has broken out. Which may explain why the neighborhood has reacted so sharply to all that's been happening. Saudi Arabia has issued a statement saying the raid in al-Aqsa is detrimental to peace efforts. And then you have Egypt saying it condemns Israeli police's storming of al-Aqsa in the strongest term. But here's what the neighborhood needs to remember. This is the Israeli police under the command of hardliner Itamar Ben-Gvir. This is a hardline government where you have a defense minister who is threatening to hit anyone.
I want to be very clear. We will hit anyone who tries to harm us, and there will be a heavy price that will make them regret any threats against Israeli citizens or IDF troops. I hope we all enjoy a happy and peaceful Passover.
Let's shift focus now to Pakistan. On Tuesday afternoon, it witnessed something rather unusual, or should I say bizarre. Have a look at these images. They are from Lahore. Who do you see? No, that's not DJ Marshmallow. That is Pakistan's former Prime Minister, Imran Khan. Yes, that is how he appeared at a court in Lahore, wearing a bulletproof helmet over his head, which, in all honesty, looked like a huge bucket. And have a look at the people around him. He was accompanied by commandos carrying black bullet-resistant shields that appeared more like massive rubber pads. Now, we've seen some really bizarre protection apparatuses in the past. Security arrangements that make you question the very point of them. Like this video of Kim Jong-un's bodyguards running beside his car in Russia's Vladivostok. An idea he apparently got from a Clint Eastwood movie. Can you believe that? We've also seen videos of a Queen's Guard mercilessly stamping his foot on a small child while marching at the Tower of London in the UK. But all these instances fail before Imran Khan's security cover. We have truly never seen anything like this. The question is, what was the point of this? What was Imran Khan trying to do here? Was this yet another political gimmick? Well, it certainly looked like one, but not to Imran Khan's supporters. They, by the way, say this was necessary because his life is in danger. Remember, in November last year, there was an attempt at his life. It happened during a protest march in Wazirabad. A gunman fired shots at the leader. It hit him in the shin and on the right leg. And since then, the former Pakistani Prime Minister has repeatedly accused the Pakistan government of making attempts to assassinate him. So when he appeared in court on Tuesday, he decided to make sure every Pakistani watches him. Next question, what was he doing at the court? What was this case all about? Well, this was in connection with the 3 terror cases registered against him. They pertain to the clashes that took place outside his residence between his supporters and the Lahore police. Imran Khan has been accused of instigating them. And so he was summoned by an anti-terror court in Lahore. And what did the court tell him? Well, it granted him bail in the 3 cases, but only till the 13th of April. And the judges have further ordered that Imran Khan's presence is mandatory for any further hearing if he wants to secure bail. We wonder, how will he turn up at the court next? Because netizens cannot seem to have enough of his last appearance. It seems to have become a butt of jokes. People are trolling him left, right, and center. Let me show you a few tweets now. This Twitter user wondered if appearing like this at court was on Imran Khan's bucket list. Another user wondered if DJ Marshmallow copied Imran Khan or whether Imran Khan copied him. Another user compared his appearance with a scene from a Bollywood classic where the characters use cooking utensils to hide their faces and sneak into a wedding. The responses, the reactions are hilarious to say the least. The state of affairs in Pakistan, however, worrisome. Look at this headline. Due to the ongoing financial crunch, the Karachi Zoo has run out of amenities. Reports say the facility is facing food and staff shortages. The animals have become malnourished. They are living in cramped enclosures. The zoo was apparently established during British rule. It has over 750 animals and birds, and right now the authorities don't have either enough money, they don't even have enough money to feed them. Look at this headline now. the number of Pakistani citizens who have died in stampedes over food has now risen to 21. All they wanted was food aid. At least 21 people have lost their lives in these stampedes at the food distribution sites. And food shortage, by the way, is not the only problem the country is facing. Reports say Pakistan is now heading towards a water shortage. It will apparently hit Pakistan during the Kharif season, that is between June and October. The question is, what is the Pakistan government doing about all this? Well, it's busy settling political scores, dragging former prime ministers to the court. So we highly doubt if Islamabad is actually prepared for the tragedy that awaits it. Let's now talk about China. It is not only provoking India, but a country as apolitical as the Vatican. That's right. Beijing has appointed a bishop without consulting the Vatican or even informing the Vatican of his appointment. And why is this news? Because one, this is China making arbitrary decisions on a matter that is not secular. And two, this is China doing what it does best, breaking rules. You see, the Vatican and China have an agreement on the appointment of bishops. And what does this deal say? It says that the Vatican has the final say over the appointment of bishops, while China handles the shortlisting. It is the Vatican that has the final word, at least on paper. And now the details of this deal are a secret. Neither side has spoken much about it. What we can tell you, though, is that this deal was first signed in 2018. It has been renewed twice since. But to what end? This is Bishop Shen Bin. He is the one China has appointed as the new Bishop of Shanghai. And the question is, the power of appointing a bishop in the Catholic Church lies solely with the Pope. When a diocese falls vacant, the Vatican's ambassador puts together a short list of 3 names in consultation with bishops and priests, following which the list is sent to the Holy See. And the Pope then picks one candidate. So we are back to the question, who really appointed Shen Bin? A body called the Council of Chinese Bishops. It is run by the Chinese Communist Party, and the Vatican does not recognize the body. So what you have here is she sidestepping the Vatican. And this is not a first, by the way. In November last year, the Vatican released a statement that read, and I'm quoting, "The Holy See noted with surprise and regret that Bishop John Peng had been installed as an auxiliary bishop of Jiangxi. This diocese was not recognized by the Vatican. The Vatican statement added the Holy See hopes that similar episodes will not be repeated." And cut to the episode of Shen Bin. So what exactly is China trying to do here? It is sending silent signals to the Vatican. You see, China and the Vatican do not have formal diplomatic relations. So much so that the Pope has never visited China in recent history. And why is that? Because the Chinese Communist Party wants to control the church in China. For the longest time, there was a deep divide between an underground church in China that was loyal to the Pope and state-backed official church. It was only in the year 2018, following the secret deal, that China recognized the Pope as the supreme leader of the Catholic Church. But clearly, there is a difference between recognizing and accepting. And the recent incidents are a proof that China is trying to flex its muscles. It is silently telling the world who has an upper hand, even in the matters of religion. Because let's not forget, this is China under Xi Jinping. And he is almost obsessed with the idea of sinicizing China. So much so that in the last couple of years, churches have been destroyed in China, crosses have been removed, clerics have been detained. Even the online sale of the Bible has been banned. The case of Bishop Shen Bin is Xi Jinping's way of telling the world that there is no religious freedom in Xi's China. And our next story is from India. It is witnessing an uptick in the Wuhan virus cases. Should this spike worry you? What is behind the growing infections? Is another wave of the virus on the horizon? Over the next few minutes, we discuss this and more. Let me directly start off with the numbers, of course. In the last 24 hours, India has recorded over 4,435 fresh COVID-19 cases. This is the highest single-day rise in the last 163 days. And during the same period, a total of 15 deaths have been reported. This is according to data from the Union Health Ministry. Where have the deaths been reported? 4 deaths each have been reported in Kerala and Maharashtra, 1 death each in New Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, and Puducherry. Now, on the positive side, the active cases in the country right now comprising just 0.05% of the total infections. And what's more, a total of 2,508 recoveries have also been reported in the same period. And if I speak of the recovery rate, it stands at an impressive 98.76%. And as for the fatality rate, it stands at just 1.19%. But that does not mean we let our guard down and give in to complacency. This is the message, by and large, by the health authorities. A message that is not really going unnoticed. Have a look at this report. Amid the rising COVID-19 cases, the Supreme Court of India has told lawyers that they can appear virtually for the hearings. This decision has been taken by the Chief Justice of India himself, D.Y. Chandrachud. He says the court is willing to hear lawyers via video conferencing. And if they want, they can also work in hybrid mode. If I speak of preparedness, the government of India is not taking any chances. It plans to hold countrywide mock drills next week. Reports say both public and private health facilities in all the districts are likely to take part in the exercise. The aim will be to assess the availability of the medicines, hospital beds, medical equipment, medical oxygen. If I speak of the kind of people falling sick in Delhi hospitals, most COVID-19 patients are either elderly or people who have comorbidities. This is according to the state health department officials. It says that a majority of the patients are above 60 years of age and have been suffering from issues like cardiac disease, kidney disease, diabetes. And this has led to warnings from the health experts that those with comorbidities need to be particularly cautious. They say comorbidities weaken the immune system, making it difficult to fight off respiratory infections. And it doesn't end there. A new study has also been released. It says COVID-19 infection has the ability to accelerate the progression of dementia in patients who already have the neurodegenerative disease. And according to another study, a widely used clinical drug for controlling type 2 diabetes can lower the chances of being detected with long COVID. The name of the drug is metformin. A Lancet study saying that treatment with metformin during COVID-19 infection prevented over 40% of the patients from having long COVID. And as for the spike in cases in India, yes, the numbers may be growing, but health experts say it's too early to be alarmed. It's too early to say if lockdowns and restrictions should return. For now, prevention remains our best bet. Let's now talk about what's happening in the United States. The last 24 hours have been eventful, to say the least. Former President Donald Trump has been charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records. He has been accused of committing felony, which could also include prison time if the maximum sentence is given. What's next for Donald Trump? What do the latest developments mean for his 2024 presidential campaign? What are the details of the criminal charges? Our next report getting you the complete story.
There was nothing done illegally. This is what Donald Trump posted on his social media platform after leaving the courthouse. This is the same courthouse where the former president was imposed with 34 felony charges of falsifying business records in the first degree. While the courthouse witnessed this unprecedented moment in American history, Trump supporters stood outside, showing their solidarity with their leader. What are the charges based on? This is a document that accompanied Trump's indictment. The charges are based on repeated and fraudulent falsification of Trump's New York business records, which concealed criminal conduct and hid damaging information from the citizens during the 2016 presidential election. In the Trump hush money case, New York City District Attorney Alvin Bragg compared the allegations on Trump to any other white-collar case. And what did Trump have to say? After being charged, the former president slammed the judge responsible for his criminal charges. He called Judge Juan Merchan a Trump hater, criticizing Merchan for being a corrupt official who received money from the Biden-Harris campaign. And even after the criminal charges, Trump's focus is still on the 2024 presidential elections. He commented on the New York City District Attorney Alvin Bragg, saying that Bragg is just another guy campaigning. Trump gave out his message loud and clear that he is the victim of a witch hunt.
The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it.
The criminal case against Trump rests not just on his high-profile alleged affair with porn star Stormy Daniels, but also on an alleged liaison with ex-Playboy model Karen McDougal, who claimed to have an affair with Trump for 10 months. Trump has denied having a sexual relationship with her. American Media Inc. or AMI, which is the corporate parent of the National Enquirer, has acknowledged paying McDougal $150,000 for rights to her story to prevent her from going public with it ahead of the 2016 presidential election. And how can we not mention Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen? Trump was the one sending checks, which was registered as legal fees to Cohen. Cohen has now confessed that there were reimbursements for the hush money payment. The big question is, can Trump still run for president in 2024? And the answer is yes. His indictment and conviction cannot stop him from running for presidency. As the American Constitution only has 3 requirements for candidates. They should be natural-born citizens, should be at least 35 years old, and a resident of the US for the last 14 years. So this means Trump can run for presidency even from jail. Will Trump continue to increase his fan base? Is America set to witness protests by Republicans? We'll have to wait and watch.
Our next story is about the space race and where India stands. The lucrative business of space. India is planning to present itself as a reliable alternative to Elon Musk's SpaceX. The country is looking to take advantage of the geopolitical isolation of China and Russia in the space sector. Well, India might be getting into the space satellite launch hustle at the perfect time, as Russia and China, that have been the main providers of satellite launches, are suffering as a result of the war in Ukraine, especially Beijing, its tensions with America making it off limits in a way for many potential customers. Recently, New Space India, a state-owned company, launched 36 communication satellites for OneWeb, a company which aims to build broadband satellite internet services. And this move has not only pushed the company's bid to create a global broadband internet network in the skies, but also signaled India's ambitions in the sector. OneWeb has turned to India and left its business in Russia after the country hijacked the original launch of the satellites last year. Now, India is trying to contribute to the global demand for high-speed internet delivered from space. And the rising demand has made launching satellites a prosperous business. The space economy has been projected to grow to $600 billion by 2025. And China, on the other hand, is losing credibility as far as its satellites are concerned. There are growing concerns over Beijing accessing Western technology. Although China has conducted more satellite launches, countries are now acknowledging India's unique selling point when it comes to space launches, its efficiency and frugality. In fact, Elon Musk has also not shied away from appreciating India's frugal methods in conducting successful launch missions. This admiration came after India broke a world record by launching 104 satellites into space using a single rocket. India, by the way, still holds the world record since 2021. Remember, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi saluted ISRO's Mangalyaan mission, which had reached Mars with a smaller budget than a Hollywood movie. India's Prime Minister also pointed out that the per kilometer cost of India's Mangalyaan mission was cheaper than the average per kilometer cost of an auto rickshaw ride in India. Prime Minister Modi's Make in India campaign is making the economy a hub for technological innovation. The growth of over 100 space tech startups is contributing towards making the space agencies more business friendly, which, as a result, is attracting companies like OneWeb. So it seems like India's strategy is working out for the best. In fact, the country has also drawn out a plan for the future. The government has eased rules for private satellite companies, and this has promoted independent space activities where startups can access ISRO's facilities such as launch pads and laboratories. And this is slowly leading to more satellite launches. And reports say India's worth in satellite launch services could double to $1 billion by 2025. Some children just have it easy, don't they? Opportunities are served to them on a platter. They don't have to go out and grind like the others. Everything they do hits news headlines simply because they were born in influential families, born to influential personalities, and in this case, the former president of the United States. I'm talking about Malia Obama, Barack and Michelle Obama's daughter. She is making an appearance in Hollywood. She is not assisting a seasoned director or interning on the set, but directing her own short film. If anything, the Golden Globe winner Donald Glover will be helping her. The project will be released under Glover's production company. This would be Malia Obama's directorial debut. How did she land such a big break? It's all in her last name, some would say. Now, I am absolutely not questioning her talent. But is she experienced enough to be a director, is what many would be wondering. Let's have a look at her career so far. In 2014, Malia scored a job as a production assistant. She worked on Halle Berry's science fiction series Extant. Malia Obama was merely 15 then. Now, before you get swayed, I want you to know that she worked for only a day. She was accompanied by her mother, Michelle Obama, to the CBS studios. The director let her use a production slate before the take. She apparently also helped with the reshoots of the show's pilot. Now, does this qualify as a real job? Or was this just a child's golden ticket to a shoot? I leave it for you to judge. Shortly after her 17th birthday, Malia spent the summer interning for HBO. The creators of drama series Girls were keen to take her on board, but her specific role on the show remained a mystery. And this is what the director Lena Dunham said. She was interning at HBO and they thought, what if she comes a couple of days a week to the set of Girls? She loved the show and obviously we were not making her go get our coffee. You see, that's what happens when you are born with a silver spoon in your mouth. It was that easy for Malia Obama. In 2017, Malia landed another Hollywood internship, this time at Weinstein Company in New York City, the same company that held a lavish, star-studded fundraiser for Barack Obama's 2012 presidential run. Weinstein Company also donated over $28,500 indirectly to Obama's 2008 campaign. Of course, it came bearing gifts for the nepotism baby. While at the job, 19-year-old Malia read through scripts sent into the office. In industrial terms, it was boring and unrewarding work, but Weinstein Company used the then first daughter to auction off its internship, and for no ordinary amount, by the way, for a staggering $15,000. This is what a memo advertising the internship said. Learn all the ins and outs of the movie business and maybe even run into Malia Obama while you're at it. You see, on the one hand, Malia was benefiting from her father's connection, and on the other hand, the film studio was using her for PR. It was a win-win situation for both the sides. Now, would a regular American teenager enjoy such privilege? It seems highly unlikely. It can take years, thousands of failed attempts perhaps, blood and sweat, hours of interviewing and rehearsing to even land a job in Hollywood. But things are different when you are a leader's daughter. Carpets are rolled out, you are valued. But for whose support and connections you bring, that could be the more important factor. After the Weinstein internship, Malia Obama added another prominent name to her resume. She wrote for Prime Video's thriller series Swarm. This was under Donald Glover and Janine Nabers. Malia merely wrote one episode. Both the creators were in awe. They praised her work left, right and center. And now Glover is giving Malia an opportunity to direct her own film. Was it really that easy? Now, we don't have anything against Malia Obama, but it goes without saying that she is about as privileged as one could get. Even if she is extraordinarily smart and skilled, she did have leverage over the others. The same opportunities that a normal person would perhaps slog day and night for were served to Malia Obama on a platter. Look at this in 2016. Malia's sister, Sasha Obama, took up a job at a seafood joint in Massachusetts. She was applauded for it. She was all over the news. But isn't this what almost every American teenager does? So why this special treatment? Why the applause? Once again, it's all in the last name. For the women watching our show tonight, when did you start menstruating? How old were you when you got your first period? 13? 12 perhaps? Quite possible not sooner than that. But times have changed. Our environment, our lifestyle changing, and so have our bodies. To what extent? Let me tell you. A 7-year-old girl in India's national capital region got her first period. A 7-year-old. Do you remember when you were that age? Menarche is not a word in a 7-year-old's vocabulary. The girl's parents were shocked beyond measure. It did not even occur to them that she might be menstruating. They rushed her to a hospital, thinking it was some health issue. They ended up scaring the child further. Another girl from India's Bengaluru got her period when she was 8. Her parents had not prepared her for it. Because, let's be honest, parents rarely expect their daughters to menstruate this soon. But early menstruation has become somewhat prevalent, and a majority of people are unaware. girls are hitting puberty sooner than expected. 15% of American girls start puberty at the age of 7, 28% of them mature by 8. It also depends on their ethnicity. Average African American girls start puberty at the age of 8, Hispanics at 9 years, and Asian American girls close to 10 years. For Indian girls, it is over 10 years. Menarche typically follows 1.5 or 2 years after puberty. So a 7-year-old getting her period is still a shocker. You see, early period takes a toll on the child's mental health. It forces them to be responsible before their age. They have to learn how to use and dispose of sanitary napkins. They have to be extra cautious as far as personal hygiene is concerned. Often, they could feel isolated from their peers. Sometimes, even their teachers don't understand their condition. Hitting puberty as a child increases chances of depression, alcohol consumption, drug use, eating disorders, behavioral problems, and even attempted suicide. Physically as well, girls are at a higher risk of developing breast and uterine cancers. And why is that? Because their bodies are exposed to estrogen for a longer period of time. But why exactly is this happening? Why are girls menstruating so early? Is our lifestyle the villain here? Or is it in the genetics? Well, there are a number of factors that might be the culprit. Number one being obesity. It may alter hormone secretion and sensitivity. Girls who are overweight start periods earlier than underweight girls. Our lifestyle has become so sedentary. Children are glued to screens instead of playing outside. They consume loads of processed junk food. Around 39 million children under the age of 5 were overweight or obese in 2020. If obesity is so prevalent, of course, more girls are going to start menstruating early. The increased intake of animal protein and milk could also lead to an early menarche. So can increased consumption of processed food. Endocrine disrupting chemicals contribute to this as well. These chemicals can be natural or man-made. They interfere with the body's hormones and disrupt the hormonal balance. Excessive stress can also have a similar impact. You see, your lifestyle could be your biggest enemy. You may think that a bad lifestyle is simply affecting your productivity or your physical health, but in reality, it can pose long-term issues that might even affect your marital life, your ability to start a family or to be a parent. Infertility is a global health issue. It is affecting millions of people of reproductive age the world over. Have a look at this report by the World Health Organization, WHO. It says 1 in 6 people experience infertility in their lifetime globally. This accounts for 17.5% of the adult population. Can you believe that? Such a large section of our population faces trouble conceiving a child. And why is that? Again, is your lifestyle to be blamed? While fertility is affected by your physical and mental health, it is also affected by your choices. How much you drink, how much you smoke, obesity, exposure to pollutants and toxins, all of these things matter. While you may notice the extra pounds you put on due to extra beers that you consumed, you may not see how it is actually affecting your libido, your sperm count, your chances of having a baby. Let's now tell you what else made news around the world. Time for Gravitas Global Headlines.
The World Trade Organization says that 2023 global trade growth would be slightly better than feared, but would remain subpar, weighed down by the Russia-Ukraine war and stubbornly high inflation. Russian President Vladimir Putin tells new U.S. ambassador in Moscow, Lynn Tracy, that Washington is responsible for the Ukrainian crisis while accepting her credentials in a Kremlin ceremony. The International Monetary Fund says growing geopolitical fragmentation around the world, including the US-China trade war and the Russia-Ukraine war, could cut global growth by 2%. French energy giant Total Energies announces a deal with Iraq on a $10 billion project that was delayed due to disagreements over the terms of the deal. Major Russian bank VTB reports losses of $7.5 billion in 2022, says it expects to bounce back this year. The bank's chief blames Western sanctions against Russia's financial sector for the 2022 slump. Johnson & Johnson offers to pay $8.9 billion to resolve years-old lawsuits claiming that its talcum powder products caused cancer. The proposed settlement needs the approval of a bankruptcy court. Pakistani rupee hit an all-time low against the US dollar, with the political uncertainty and judicial crisis prompting the country's central bank to hike interest rates. The United Nations says the Taliban have extended a ban on women working for NGOs to the UN mission throughout the country. The global body calls the order unacceptable. Favorites Bayern Munich are dumped out of the German Cup following a shock 1-2 defeat to Freiburg. A last-minute penalty saw Freiburg snatch a win at the Allianz Arena and end Bayern's quest for a treble. Joel Embiid strengthened his MVP credentials by leading the Philadelphia 76ers past fellow Eastern Conference heavyweights Boston Celtics. The 29-year-old scored 52 points, added 13 rebounds, 6 assists and 2 blocks as the 76ers beat the Celtics 103-101.
On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. We are leaving you with Gravitas images. Thanks very much for watching.